New York Jets minicamp has come to an end, and now the team doesn't meet again until, well, July. But in the meantime, we do have some things to talk about that are Jets related. And I have a few things to get to in my 3 and out tonight. I got to get them off my chest and I got to get them off my mind quick. But guys, you know what's up. It's Wednesday night. It's 6 p.m. Eastern, and we are live. And well. Welcome everybody to New York Sports WickerMedia. I am your host, Wa2K99, here every Wednesday night for this weekly extravaganza. And I am glad you are here to join in with me as we get into the world of New York sports with a very special emphasis on the New York Jets because, hey, got to go where the audience is, and my audience is distinctively Jets-oriented. Of course, you guys want me to talk about some other things? I don't know, hockey, food, science. Won't do that. But let me know. So I want to say we got a few people here in the chat already. Sharon McLean, who usually does cameo appearances during the trivia towards the end of the night. A little bit busy, so she stopped by to say hello, and we definitely appreciate that. Hope you're having a great week. The great Father Abraham, Harlan Abraham, and his many sons are all here. The many sons of Father Abraham. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Yep, that's exactly right. It helps spread the word about the channel. And remember, we get those 15 thumbs up during the show. We spin the Jets wheel towards the end of the show. And actually, I got a thing or two to say about the wheel a little bit later on. You might want to stay tuned for that. And the OG channel member, Jets Mess, just $5 a month to be a channel member. Very, very much appreciated. Good to see you. Hope you're having a good week. That's how Jets Chaos gets his audience. Yeah, I do find, though, I probably have to do a separate channel just for the food. And it's one of those things I wish it had been around 10 years ago. Like I knew about YouTube then, some of the stuff I would have done. But yeah, I got to be honest. I feel like I still have a long way to go with the technology, with figuring out how I'm recording myself while eating and doing that. I don't know. It's like if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. You know, like this I could do pretty easily. But it'd be easier if somebody was filming me. But there's got to be ways to do it. So, but when you're flying solo, it's a little bit harder. Do want to say I have not done any recording the last week. I have had the flu since Friday. Have not been feeling well at all. Voice is fine at this point, but still coughing. Anybody, if you have stock in Ricola, you are probably having a very good week because I've been going through them like nobody's business. So yeah, between Ricola, Dayquil, Ricola, Dayquil, NyQuil, middle of the day quill, overnight quill, whatever quills there are. I'm pretty much taking those, vitamin C, decent amount of water, a little bit of hot tea. At work we have a Keurig, we have some hot tea, and it's very, very generic, horrible tasting tea. This is not Bigelow tea, I can assure you of that, but you do what you got to do to get better. So yeah, we'll get through it. It's just the breathing is a little bit limited at this point, but my voice feels okay. So we will power through as we always do, but that's why I have not done any recording as of the last week. But believe me, there were some things to talk about. So let's get into those things right now and a little bit of what we like to call 3 and out. So I'm actually going to start with a positive. I didn't know if I'd have anything positive to say in this segment, but the New York Rangers re-signed Matt Rempe, their young power forward and agitator, as some would call him, to a 2-year deal worth just under $2 million total. So $975K per year. I think that's a very worthwhile move. I know the refs, he breathes on a guy wrong and he gets a double minor. We know how it is, but he does create an impact on the ice. I think with some good coaching, he could be a more than just a fourth line player in the NHL. I really do believe that. So I'm glad the Rangers were able to keep him. The Knicks coaching search goes on, and the names that you're hearing, Taylor Jenkins, I didn't even know what a Taylor Jenkins was until a week ago. I had no idea what that was. Now, I acknowledge the NBA is my fourth league. I am not an NBA fan. I am a Knicks fan, and there is a significant difference. But I guess he was the coach in Memphis, coaching pretty well, got let go. Sounds like he might have been one of these coaches the players didn't like. Oh, where have I heard that before? Seemed like the Knicks just had one of those, didn't they? Just saying. And then Mike Brown from Cleveland. I mean, come on. Is that supposed to get me going here? I really had faith the Knicks were going to let Tom Thibodeau go if they had a specific plan for who they were going to target with their hire. And I got no confidence they have any idea what they're doing. It really does feel like James Dolan made an edict that change had to happen. And now Leon Rose is just doing what he can to make the owner happy. Meanwhile, knowing that we may have seen our best days here at the Knicks. So I'm not going to be one of these numbskulls who says that the Knicks are back on their way to being the laughing stock of the league, the worst run organization in the league. That would be an irrational thing to say. All right. They just got to the conference finals. They've been in the second round 3 straight years. They're not there. They still have the talent. But I am worried about Dolan overstepping his boundaries again, and that's when bad things happen. So Leon Rose, good luck. Now, as far as the baseball goes, what the hell are we watching? It is so bad right now that it makes New York football almost look competent. I said almost. Said almost. The New York Yankees, I believe, have not scored a run since the Great Flood. I believe Noah was still gathering animals for the Ark the last time that the Yankees actually scored a run. They've been shut out 3 straight games, including when you can't score at home against the Angels in what was it, 12 innings? 12 innings. When in 3 of those innings you have that ridiculous ghost runner on second base and you still can't score a run, you got problems. You have some major, major problems. And I got to wonder, does the Yankee fan now wish that Juan Soto was still there? Yes, they were able to bring in a lot of good players. Devin Williams starting to look good again in the bullpen. Max Fried, excellent starting pitcher, no doubt about it. But they bring in Clay Bellinger. They bring in Paul Goldschmidt, both on 1-year deals. Soto wasn't coming back to the Yankees on a 1-year deal. And you have to wonder, this lineup, I mean, are you confident with Trent Grisham leading off every day? Are you confident with Ben Rice batting second as of late? It's one of those things. It's if Judge doesn't bat basically like Babe Ruth or Joe DiMaggio, the Yankees don't score runs. And you know what? That can get you into the playoffs in a crappy, weak American League. But it's not going to take you to the promised land. Not when you're facing a team like the LA Dodgers or one of the best teams in the NL. It's not going to happen. Now, 162 games, there's always outliers in every stretch. But no runs in 30 innings, you got to be worried about that. And as far as the other team goes in New York, well, they have ever since Kodai's hamstring popped, got that grade 1 strain. This team has been a train wreck ever since. The New York Mets look like they have absolutely no idea what to do at all. And I got to be honest with you, I wasn't even all that upset about getting swept by the Rays. I really, really wasn't. I mean, one game was a mail-in. The other 2 games, one bad inning here and there. I wasn't even freaking out about the pitching, although I would like to see the offense carry the team to a win for a change, maybe score 9 runs, 8-9 runs when the pitching gives up 6. Can I see that happen? But I knew one thing going into this stretch against Atlanta and Philadelphia, this 10-game stretch. I was worried that as bad as Atlanta has been, okay, as bad as their record has been, they were not going to play that way for 6 months. And you got to remember, The Braves still had a positive run differential. It's not like they're getting blown out every game. They're just finding ways to lose close games. They're losing a lot of one-run games. That's been the issue. And when they would start to turn it around, they're going to make a run. And the timing of this series felt very, very ominous. And I got to say this, Juan Soto gets it started with a solo home run. Feeling pretty good. Mets take a 4-1 lead. Feeling very good. David Peterson continues to pitch. Give him all the credit in the world for the way that he has pitched for this team. He is the ace of the staff right now. No doubt about it. But then when he starts in the 8th inning and he walks the number 9 hitter, I said, we're in trouble. Then when it becomes bases loaded, nobody out, there was no need to watch another second of that game. And sure enough, they lose in extra innings. And it just absolutely drives me crazy that a team that they're, 14 games up on at the time. This could turn into the exact opposite of last year when the Mets played very badly in April and May. Then they started to turn it around in June, and we dealt with, all the different goofy slogans and everything that people wanted to, talk about there. This looks like the absolute reverse of that right now. The pitching staff did pitch way over their heads. Now, look, they've got reinforcements coming back. I know Montas has been bad. I know that. Minaya, I got confidence once he's in the majors, he'll be fine. Brooks Raley will be back in about another month or so. And that'll give him another lefty that they can really use. And thankfully, Senga, there's a chance he could be back. I would say maybe late July, I think is actually possible. But I am really worried about where this team is going to go at this point. Because unlike the Yankees, the Yankees have the Rays to deal with, but come on, the Rays are the Rays. They'll hang around for the wild card. That's what they do, and then they'll be bye. The Mets could easily fall into third place by the middle of July. And I'm saying that as a team that's 13, 14 games up on Atlanta right now. I am very worried. I was hoping for 6-4 in these 10 games. The way I feel right now about this team, I would not be surprised if I see 2-8. I am freaking. And tonight, Paul Blackburn against Chris Sale? What? I'm praying for rain. I am praying for a rainy night in Georgia, as the good old song used to say. Lord, I believe it's raining all over the world. I need some rain in Cobb County tonight. I don't want to see this game. Oh, my gosh. I am just disgusted. I keep saying it's not who you play, it's when you play them. And the Mets weren't able to play Atlanta when the time would have been best. And now Braves got all the confidence they need, and now Mets look like they're about to get run the F over. What a joke New York baseball is right now. Well, on that positive note, everybody, let's talk about something that makes us all happy, that can make New York fans proud. Let's talk a little New York Jets. That's right, we got a new background up here. So everybody, why not? Say it proud, say it loud, let it go! Oh my God. I need a little swig of water for the working man and woman after that little tirade. I know the disappearing bottle, but not exactly a lot of room behind me for a green screen. So this is what we work with. And yeah, I thought I would take us inside the Jets Atlantic Health Training Center inside Florham Park and sort of take us inside the building. I thought that'd be a good spot to do this particular show. Hey, Jim Pock, how you doing? That's what I'm here for. Highway to the Danger Zone. Yeah, just had the great Matt O'Leary on last week. He's getting the guests as of late, man. I thought he had a pretty open booking schedule. The fact that he had actually asked me to come on, but I guess he's actually getting some guests that people have heard of. It's amazing. Rusty, I can't respond. Rusty Spooner's here. Rusty, how you doing? God bless you. Believe me, there were games this week I was not going to watch or pay attention to. And being sick, it just made it that much easier for me. But God bless America. And that is as political as I am getting on the show tonight. All right. So let's get into a little bit of Jets news right now. We'll see how long this show goes. I'm actually thinking, we have, I believe, 5 shows, including tonight, until training camp begins. We got a long way to go. So the dates actually just came out this afternoon. So the dates are July 19th. Rookies report to training camp. So today is June 18th. Today is 6/18. So that means, that's a Friday. No, that's a Saturday. July 19th is a Saturday. And then the following Tuesday, the 22nd, the Veterans Report. So we got 5 shows to do every Wednesday night until training camp. So I don't know if I'm going to be doing a Jets preview show every single week, because how many angles can we ask the same questions and basically have the same answers? But I think we'll come up with some creative ideas along the way. I actually do have one idea for a show I think we'll do at some point, just have a little bit of fun. Rusty Spooner, how you doing, my friend? Yep, the creator of the Rusty's Diamonds finds those gems in the draft that not even Mel Kiper and Daniel Jeremiah knew about. Dom C might have known about him, but Dom is the one exception. It's if Dom and Rusty don't know about him, nobody knows about him. All right, so July 19th, rookies report to training camp. July 22nd, the Veterans Report. And then the joint practices with the Giants will be August 12th and August 13th. So that's in the middle of the week, in between preseason games 1 and 2. Of course, the first preseason game will be in Green Bay. I will be there. Definitely going to try to do something. I will be touring the stadium, the Hall of Fame. So maybe I'll take a few videos. I'll definitely take some photos, and maybe I'll put a little video together and post them on the channel, like I did a couple years ago when I went to Philadelphia. Then, that was a video I was really proud of that I made years ago. It was a lot of food and it was a lot of sports, and it was a really good video. I'm probably the video I'm most proud of that I've ever made. In all seriousness. So there is a little bit of Jets news, and we got to talk about first, we got to talk about some special teams, specifically the thicker kicker, Harrison, don't call me Revis Mevis. So let's get to know Harrison Mevis a little bit. When I first saw it, I thought Jared Lorenzen had come back from the dead. Oh my gosh. And yellow is not the most flattering color on him, but playing for Missouri. I mean, couldn't they give him some pinstripes or something there? My gosh. But Harrison Mevis. So let's get to know this kicker. 23 years old, 5'11", 243 pounds. Played, as I said, at the University of Missouri. Now, when he was a sophomore, he was an All-American. All right, so that's saying something. That is saying something when you are an All-American kicker, because they're only giving one of those out. So over his 4 years in college, he made 84% of his kicks, but in his last 2 years as a junior, he made only 78.6% of his kicks. As a senior, 80%. So there was a clear drop in his last 2 years. But Mevis holds the Missouri record for points, 415, 89 field goals, 12 field goals made from 50 yards and up. Okay, so he's got a power leg. And he's also got an SEC conference record, making a 61-yard game winner against Kansas State back in 2023. So then Carolina has him. They let him go. They decided to keep a steady Eddie Pinheiro over him. So I can't say I blame them. Eddie is a very accurate kicker, so can't kill them for that. So then Mevis goes on to the UFL, and he made 20 of 21 field goals. 54 yards was his long, and he tied for the highest field goal percentage in the league, along with Rodrigo Blankenship, a former NFL kicker with the Colts. So now the Jets have brought him in. And at the time when they made the move earlier this week, we thought they would bring him in to compete with Caden Davis, who they brought in as an undrafted free agent, and Anders Carlson, who was on the roster last year. But then the actual transaction comes out this afternoon, and we find out that the Jets have waived Anders Carlson. So it turns out the Jets will not be bringing 3 kickers with them. Caden Davis, they got more confidence in him than they do Anders Carlson, who is a 27-year-old second-year man last year. So we look at Carlson last year, 8 for 10 on field goals, 9 for 11 on extra points. Yes, he made a 58-yard field goal, but the Jets Clearly going with not just youth, but young youth. That's right, Harley. Steady Eddie was a one-time Jet. Exactly right. So, but Anders Carlson, we thank you for your time as a New York Jet. But as only we do here at New York Sports WickerMedia, we have to say goodbye. So he gone. Anders Carlson, onward and upward in your future endeavors. We wish you only the best, unless, of course, you kick against the Jets one day. All right, so let's talk about a couple of things. Just a couple of topics I got on my mind right now as a Jets fan that I'm going to be watching closely as time goes on. Probably some of the biggest questions I still have. And I'm really just going to talk about two things, and I want to get into these in a little bit of depth tonight. So just two topics. Number one is wide receiver 2. And I put sort of a mishmash here of Xavier Gibson, Josh Reynolds, Tyler Johnson, and Arian Smith is up here too. Malachi Corley is somewhere. I think he's off to the side. So he's off to the side of this photo. So I think that's kind of how we'll do that. You know what I mean? So now, look, we know as Jet fans in this situation, we're not going to have T. Higgins. We're not going to have Devontae Smith. Nothing like that ilk as our second wide receiver. But you do have opportunities in here. Josh Reynolds right now, most beat writers say, clearly in the lead for wide receiver 2. I've seen Samini say that. I've seen Hughes say that. I've seen Costello say that. The reporters say he's pretty much the most consistent receiver there is outside of Garrett Wilson. Not the flashiest, not the most eye-popping, but the most consistent. And right now, as a Jet fan, I could use some reliable players. And Reynolds understands the concepts of the offense the Jets are going to run. We know he's played in Detroit before. I think he is the one former Lion that is actually on this roster. Jets got a lot of former Lion coaches, but not a lot of Lion players. But he's a consistent catcher. Now, let's talk about Josh Reynolds a little bit. And we're going to talk about some of these players a little bit. Also notice, by the way, Alan Lazard is not on this graphic as well. I figured if he was there, it would just make people roll their eyes. But Josh Reynolds has been in the league since 2017, so 8 years. So what has he done in those 8 years? Well, I'll give you some of his career highs for single seasons. Most targets, 81. That was in 2020. Outside of that, the second most was 64 in 2023. Most yards he ever had in a season, 618. That was in 2020. Most touchdowns he ever had, 5. That was in 2018 and 2023. Yards per target, 9.5. When did that happen? 2023. You notice I'm using the same names here, the same years, 2023, 2018, or 2020, I should say. Those 2 years. Very good quarterback passer rating when targeted. When quarterbacks target Josh Reynolds, they have a passer rating of 105. It's pretty good. Josh Reynolds catches the ball. Career drop percentage of 4.6%. It's pretty good. But when you look at the overall, when I was looking at the overall numbers, there were a lot of times he would play 11, 12 games. So you hope his body holds up. But really, 2 years that I would even call pretty good. Okay. I think there are a lot of Jet fans, myself included, who wanted, maybe even expected Tim Patrick to come over to New York from Detroit for the toughness, for the leadership. Well, maybe it's up to Reynolds to fulfill that role. Now, if we're expecting him to be Eric Decker next to Brandon Marshall, I think we're going to be disappointed. So don't expect 8, 9 catches per game. But if he can make 4 to 5 catches a game and, stretch the field a little bit, move the first down markers down the field, then I'd be okay with that. If he could be an example to these young receivers, to Corley, to Smith, to Gibson, to get them developed, I don't know if he can, but if he can, I would be happy with that. And for a 1-year, $2.75 million contract, you can't really complain about that. Harlan believes that wide receiver 2 will be Reynolds. I would be very surprised. Jim Pock, he's not going to have blazing speed, but he's a good route runner. He gives you, he's got okay size. He's got okay speed. He doesn't get targeted all that frequently. So he's not a player who's going to flash in any way, not with size or with speed. It's more about his intelligence. That is what is going to allow him to win. So maybe you put him like on a young cornerback. If you, well, not that you could choose what cornerback is going to cover you as a wide receiver. That's not going to happen, right? But he can figure out how to get open. So let's see how he and Fields come together over the course of the preseason. Like in joint practices, I wonder if they're going to target Reynolds, like Fields to Reynolds. Let's see what happens there. Is a rookie tight end going to be relevant? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Tight end is not a big thing I'm going to be talking about tonight. It's something that we'll be talking about. We've talked about a lot in the past, and we will as well going forward. But I wouldn't expect Mason Taylor necessarily to be playing every offensive snap first week of the season. But if he isn't actively challenging Jeremy Ruckert for a lot of reps early on, I'd be worried. But the scouting reports on him, incredibly positive. Not just from the Jets, not from the beat writers, but coaches from other teams, scouts from other teams. They like Mason Taylor a lot. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he has to bring. We know he can catch. Put it this way, he has a very high floor. You know, not all pro floor, but at the very least, he should be a solid, reliable starter at tight end. And the Jets haven't had one of those in my mind since maybe Dustin Keller at tight end. I mean, you could tell me Ty Conklin, but I mean, come on, there's a million Ty Conklins in the NFL. I feel like the Jets haven't had a truly good tight end since Mickey Schuler. And let's be honest about this. Jet fans love Mickey Schuler. The Jet fans who were around in the 80s really appreciate Mickey Schuler. How many average NFL fans know who the hell Mickey Schuler is? How many of them know what position he played or what team he played for? The Jets have never had a true difference maker at tight end, in my opinion. Never. No, it should be Zach Kuntz. We all know it should be Kuntz, right? Because we all believe in Kuntz. We all love Kuntz. But I think Taylor has a chance to be the best tight end we've had here in a long, long time. I got good confidence in saying that to you. We'll be happy if Fields will utilize wide receiver 1 and tight end. You know, it's interesting, Tony. I see a lot of people who talk about Fields really focuses on one wide receiver, his tight ends, and his running backs. He doesn't go to a second wide receiver. I just look at the players he had to play with in Chicago and Pittsburgh, and I ask myself, why not? I mean, Pittsburgh, yeah, what wide receivers did we really have to talk about in Chicago? Darnell Mooney and, right? Pittsburgh, George Pickens and Calvin Austin? Come on. Really? Mike Williams had one big catch and no one ever heard from him again. He went into witness protection. He's trying to find more Taylor ham, egg, and cheese sandwiches. But then you have tight ends like Pat Freiermuth in Pittsburgh, Cole Kmet in Chicago. So it made sense to me that they would go the offense would go in that direction. I've got confidence Justin Fields will go wherever he needs to go. I don't think it's a situation where he's on. There we go. By the way, so we got a good number of people here in the chat. Definitely make sure to hit the thumbs up. And you're more than welcome to join us here in the chat. If you got any questions, you got any thoughts, feel free to join in. Yeah, we got some new folks, got some veterans here. I like that. Tony Alexio, ground and pound offense will have few opportunities for wide receiver 2. Here's the thing. If the Jets are trailing, though, early, they're going to have to throw the ball. And then you need a second wide receiver. Keep that in mind. You know, how quick will this team be to give up on the run if they fall behind early? If that happens, and there are games when that might just happen. All right? New coaching staff, new system, new concepts. Could take some time to mesh. Young team, very, very second youngest team in the NFL. All right. There'll probably be a few games where they get their asses whipped this year. Then you have to throw the ball. So we need smart players. Yep. And not only that, Jinpa, coaches, we need coaches who can coach players to be smart. And I say that looking at the penalty numbers we would have, the turnover numbers we would have, drops, all these things that we would do. It's not just up to the players it's up to the players ultimately. They make their own decisions. Every player is responsible for their own actions. We know that. We understand that. We get that. But the coaches also have to enforce the accountability. And that's why I'm excited about Aaron Glenn, Steve Wilkes, Tanner Engstrand, and the like, focusing on fundamentals and focusing on accountability. They have made a point to mention that in the press conferences. So that I appreciate. And by only that, not only do we need smart players, we need to reduce the ones who are, how do I say this respectfully, not smart. I might be thinking about a specific defensive end who shows up with no shirt on with a barbed wire wrapped baseball bat. Not mentioning anybody by name. Wouldn't do that. Danger Zone, not a Dustin Keller fan, vastly overrated by today's Jet fan. He constantly underachieved. I think it's one of those things when you look at what you have to compare Dustin Keller to. I mean, Jeff Cumberland and some of the other just amazingly disappointing tight ends we've had over the years. I mean, how excited Doug Jolly. I mean, we could talk about. I mean, if you had to make hypothetical question. And you could put this down in the chat. This is going to take a totally different direction than where I thought, but who cares? If you had to make your Mount Rushmore of Jets tight ends, who are you putting on that mountain? And I say that as my mom is doing a tour right now with 25 folks from around the world, and they're at Mount Rushmore today. So Mount Rushmore is on my mind. That is the ultimate question. Who is your Mount Rushmore of Jets tight ends? Woo! I'm sorry, but for me, it's hard to leave Dustin Keller off. I mean, pretty good player. Had some big touchdowns. Didn't always know where the first down yard marker was, but then he got hurt. His career's over. We got way too many penalties. We talked about it last week, where they ranked overall, and it was insane. Certain teams take a lot of penalties. The Jets, the Texans, the Cowboys. But here's the thing. There's certain penalties you can live with. You could deal with like an offside on 3rd and 7. If you're on you could almost deal with that. But like a 30-yard pass interference penalty, things like that. Or unsportsmanlike because you're retaliating, stuff like that. I could deal with penalties from being a little bit over aggressive because because you can't coach up aggression, but you can dial it back. I can respect that kind of a penalty. Keller gets the Sanchez treatment. I hated watching them both in real time. Yeah, by the end, I was absolutely done with Sanchez. He just became one of the most turnover-prone quarterbacks I'd ever seen. Does Namath get to wear the pantyhose? He could have the best tight end. Yeah. Who would that be? What was it? Pete Lammons was the tight end? Yeah, Bill Mathis, I think, was the fullback, and Pete Lammons was the tight end, right? Tony, I got a good feeling they're going to drop. I really do. I think they're going to be better than that. And I also think it's the thing, if you take a lot of dumb penalties, I mean, they are not going to be afraid to take some playing time away. I'm not, I really think that's going to happen. Because we know this. There are a few teams every year that are just really, really, really good. There's a few teams that are really, 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 really bad. And then there's a lot more teams that are in the middle, in that they're like a 6 to 10 win range, something like that. Right. And then it's a matter of how certain little things go, injuries, things like that determine if, you're picking around 10 in the draft or if you're in playoff contention. And when you beat yourself the way the Jets did, with dumb mistakes and with penalties, that's why you're going to have that's why you look worse than what your talent actually is. So that's why I refuse to believe that this team is not talented. They were coached poorly more than anything. That was the biggest problem. And if I have a reason for having hope this season, it's about the new coaching staff and where their focus is. There you go. Hey, Sharon Schuler. Oh, Rich Castor and Jerome Barkham. I think you mean Jerome Barkham. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'd probably have to put Keller. I'd probably put Keller in there. I would consider Chris Baker. I always liked Chris Baker growing up. That's a good one too. But past that, who are we talking about? Yeah. Bubba Franks, that 1 year Brett Favre was here. So, yeah, I did like Chris Baker. So, all right. So right now, just to get back to some of the wide receivers, Alan Lazard, I don't know if we're going to see him stick around. Right now, my expectation is he does, because the Jets really don't have to get rid of him if they don't want to. And as unproven as this wide receiver depth is, if somebody emerges, well, you know what? Then they could trade him if they want to. But I don't see the benefit in doing it right away. I want to spend a minute here on Tyler Johnson because I feel like this is the player who really gets the shaft, who does not get much attention. Now, I'll say this. I said this last week. He was 7th on the Rams in both catches and yards. That's not exactly inspiring to finish 7th on that team. And over the last 4 years, he has played for 5 teams: Tampa Bay, Houston, Las Vegas, the Rams, and the Bucs again. Okay, so 5 different stints with 4 different organizations. So he's got 49 career appearances, 8 starts, 76 catches, 828 yards, 4 touchdowns, and those 76 catches are on 116 targets. So that's not too bad. That's not too bad. So his opportunities have been very limited, but there's some things here I do like. Very good in the contest and catch situation. He's secured 12 of 17 contested catch opportunities. That's 70+%. Very, very good. Drop rate, 5%, below league average. I like that. During 2024, became a legitimate threat after the catch. He recorded 117 yards after the catch over what was expected. Okay, so 117 yards after the catch more than what it should have been. I don't know how the NFL calculates this, okay, but that's what they're calculating, and that's the 7th highest rank among all NFL wide receivers. So apparently, Johnson's got some raw ability there to work with. Now, the question is, and maybe we'll find out, why is he shuffling from team to team to team to team to team? You know, he's being passed around like a joint. Not that I would know, but from what I hear. Hey, Alvy had a very good first inning. I'll say that. He had a very good inning. To draw that walk after being down 0-2, drawing that walk and scoring from first base on a fly ball in front of the right fielder, in front of Acuna. And I'm going to say here, Alvarez is 23 years old, and he's a catcher. Catchers always take a little longer to develop. I don't know. It's very easy for me to give up on series, but it takes a while for me to give up on a player. I don't know. Maybe I'm backwards on that, but yeah, I just really hesitate to say, okay, that's what this player is going to be. That's what this player is going to be. You know, takes time with some of them. But so I got some hope about Tyler Johnson. Now, Xavier Gibson, Malachi Corley, Arian Smith, to me, they're all a relatively close kind of a player. You know, young, fast, raw. What are they going to be? Now, the one advantage Xavier Gibson has is we expect him to be the punt returner as of now. But in his career, he's got 27 catches on 48 targets, 1 touchdown. He's broken only 3 tackles. He holds on to the ball pretty well, just 2 drops. But, you know, he doesn't really get a whole lot of opportunities either. Malachi Corley, I was a Corley guy from the beginning. And when I say the beginning, I mean the pre-draft process. But the more he doesn't practice, the more worried I get about what his future is. And we know this administration, they got no loyalty to him. They'll have no problem letting him go. None whatsoever. Arian Smith, well, we know he's going to be on the team, barring something absolutely unforeseen. But, he was working on the side field as well during this past week. And again, it's very easy to show your speed when you're not in pads. When you're in pads, then what are we talking about? Because how many wide receivers have we seen who showed out in June, right? But then they put the pads on and all of a sudden, nothing. David Clowney, Chad Hansen, Ardarius Stewart. Those names ring a bell, anybody? I know they do. Hey, Knobcraft, how are you? How are you, man? Hope you're having a great week. Glad you're here. I'm hoping Malachi Corley can surprise us. I know he's got the talent. I know he can do it. I know he can do it. It's just, I wonder if it's here or if it's here. I mean, everybody seemed to say this is a grinder, great worker, all that stuff. I don't know if just the wrong people got around him. And, I really don't want to speculate on that. It's not my place to do that. Not like I'm hanging out in Western Kentucky with him and the Corley family. But I definitely feel like there's talent there. I swear, he went to Kansas City. He'd be fine. He'd be just fine. I'm wondering if this is going to be Mekhi Becton Part 2. So, Red Sox won, took 2 or 3 from Seattle on to San Francisco. Yes, the Devers Cup. Here we go. The Devers Cup. It's going to be fun. But then, yeah, and so that's kind of a look at where that is. And again, Lazard, I'm not even thinking about him at this point. I mean, he's just kind of there. If he's getting the second most reps at wide receiver, I don't think we're going to be happy about it. But then you go further than wide receiver, and who your number 2 target is going to be. Maybe it doesn't come from wide receiver. Maybe it comes from a running back. Yeah, we don't know what it is. Yeah, Corley was not participating last week. It's an undisclosed injury. We don't know what it was. And maybe they'll reveal that at some point, or the beat writers will find out. But as of now, it's being kept quiet. But I'll tell you what, if he's not ready to go July 22nd, his roster spot's in trouble. And I got to be fair about it. I'll be fair about it now. And again, I will give any player a year in the NFL, any player a year to get acclimated to figure it out, especially when you come from a smaller school like Western Kentucky is. But then you got to get your head figured out on what you need to do, whether that's diet, exercise, environment, living situation, whatever that is. You got to get that squared away because now you know what your expectations are. And I don't care about it being a new coaching staff, because he has to know his expectations his first year had to fall way, way, way short of what he had for himself. And I don't think Malachi Corley wants the lasting image of him in the NFL to be him dropping the ball at the 1 yard line as he's going into the end zone on a nationally televised game, no less. But I want to talk about Breece Hall a little bit. That's the second topic I want to get into tonight a little bit. And this seems to be something that a lot of people have been talking about as of late. What is the real deal with the Jets and Breece Hall? What is the future? Does Breece Hall have a future with the New York Jets? And it's one of those things. If you're pro Breece, if you believe in Breece, if you're a Breece believer, you can find plenty of data to back up your case. If you're feeling very shaky about Breece, if you want to see what kind of assets the Jets could get for him, you can find plenty of data to back up your case as well. And I think it's fair either way. So let's look at a couple of things about Breece. And we're actually going to talk about some stats. We're going to talk contract numbers, number of things here. So in his career, 3 years, 3,625 yards from scrimmage, 22 touchdowns, basically about 40 games worth of action, nothing to sneer at. 2 years removed from finishing 4th in the league in yards from scrimmage. But then we look at last year, a career low 4.2 yards per run. Now you could attribute that to a lot. The offensive line could not run. The offensive line, including the tight ends and wide receivers, could not run block. We know Aaron Rodgers would audible and take running opportunities away from Breece Hall more than anybody. So we can understand that to an extent. But no running back dropped more passes than Breece Hall last year, 8 or 9, depending on who you talk to. Only Ramondre Stevenson in New England had more fumbles than Breece. Stevenson had 7, Hall had 6. Do those factors scare off potential suitors? Now, in 3 years in the league, Breece has dropped 10.1% of his passes. That's 17 drops on 195 targets. But fumbling was not an issue until last year. So, in his first 303 attempts, he fumbled 3 times. So that's 1%. You can live with that. Over his last 209 attempts, he's fumbled 6. 6. That's 3%. That's not going to work. And another thing, Breece Hall is not a good pass blocker. He allowed 10 pressures last year. That's 5th most among running backs. Now, we've heard there have been a lot of teams who are very interested in talking to the Jets about trading for Breece Hall. Jets had no interest. Aaron Glenn called Breece Hall. Breece had been hearing the rumors. AG said, "We want you here. You know, we want you. I want you to be my running back." I'm sure that's what he said. I'm sure that's what he wanted Breece to believe. I still have every belief that Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, Donovan Edwards, heck, even Andrew Beck, potential fullback. Maybe he's our tight end too. Not so much Andrew Beck. He'll have a different role. But those 4 running backs all have opportunities to get as much playing time as they want. Because we know Breece, he's in the last year of his contract. It's the final year of his rookie deal, and he counts just $4.3 million against the cap. $4.3 million. Sounds pretty good, right? Well, let's talk about that a little bit. Because I think if the Jets are not in the mix around the trade deadline, Breece Hall would be maybe their most valuable asset that they could trade. We know running backs are very replaceable in this league, but maybe they would let him go and go the comp pick route. Because here's the thing. We know the Jets are not going to go crazy in free agency next year. Just remember, I said that I'm saying this 9 months ahead of time. The Jets are not going to spend a ton in free agency. There's a lot of dead cap money thanks to Aaron Rodgers, thanks to CJ Mosley. All right, we're not going to do that. And considering that, and if they were to go the comp pick route, remember, maybe they get a 5th round pick. That's about it. Because here's the thing. When Derrick Henry, let's go recent times. Derrick Henry went from Tennessee to Baltimore. Because remember, these comp picks, it's about how big your contract is that helps determine where you rank, whether it's a 3rd, whether it's a 4th, a 5th, a 6th, or a 7th round pick. Okay. 4, 5, 6, or 7. Now, when Derrick Henry went to Baltimore, he signed a contract for $9.5 million per year. That was before he signed the 2-year, $30 million extension. And Tennessee got a 5th round pick for that. 5th round pick for Derrick Henry. Josh Jacobs, he got $12 million to go from the Raiders to the Packers. He was worth a 5th as well. Now you're saying, well, where would Breece Hall fall in the contract? So I've got a chart here. Need to zoom in on the. I'm actually, I'm going to max this out. I'm going to take myself out of here for a minute. So I've got this sorted by average per year. So that column in the middle. So I hope everybody can see that okay. So Saquon Barkley is making $20 million per year. Christian McCaffrey, 19. And then it falls off. Derrick Henry, 15, thanks to that new extension. Jonathan Taylor, 14 with the Colts. Alvin Kamara, Josh Jacobs in the $12 million range. Then Aaron Jones goes to 10. Then after that, it starts to get down to single digits. So the point of that is, as you look at the names on this list, where does Breece Hall belong? Do you believe Breece Hall should be getting paid on that level with Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor in the $15 million a year range? Never mind what we think. Do we think other teams, if Breece Hall were to hit free agency, would they pay him $15 million a year? I don't think that's happening, because we know running backs are not getting paid top contracts in the NFL. Running back is not a top paid position. And that's why you're not going to get the best comp picks available for Breece Hall. So if you're going to not commit to him, and if they don't, I understand. I don't have a huge issue with the Jets going that way, but I would prefer to trade him during the season rather than write it out and hope you get a comp pick, which you may not even get anyway if the Jets get involved in free agency. Because then if they do that, maybe you're getting a pick at the back of the 5th round at best. Because the quarterbacks, the wide receivers, the edge rushers, they're all going to make, the offensive linemen will all make way more money than Breece Hall will. You can be sure of that. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. And I'll say this. I was not big on when the Jets drafted Breece because I didn't want to trade up for a running back. As far as the talent goes, I'm gonna go ahead and remove that now. Here we go. Okay, there we go. Hey, I'm back. So when the Jets made the trade for him, I wasn't thrilled because of the position, but I've never denied the talent. Once we watched him play and we saw what he could do, there's no doubt he's an incredibly talented running back. But he's more limited than I think most of us knew. Great home run hitter, has great speed ability. You know, damn that ACL injury that really took something out of him. But he seems to have tunnel vision. You're not going to see him break blocks. Like I said, he's not going to pass block. And as of late, his hands have not been reliable. And that's a problem. Do I want to invest $10 million, even if the cap's going up? Do I want to invest $10 million plus for multiple years to that kind of a running back? When I know I've got two young guys who look more than capable as well, especially as flammable position as running back is, it's difficult. And of course, I'm willing to see what Breece can do in this offense. Maybe it's the coaching, you know. Maybe he just needs that accountability that Aaron Glenn is talking about. You know, maybe he'll get that fumbling under control, and God bless him if he does. I think the offensive blocking will be better, and that will help him a lot. I think Breece is one of those running backs who needs blocking to make an impact. Obviously, every running back needs blocking, but some running backs are better at creating their own yards than others. Breece Hall is not one, like a basketball player can create his own shot. I think running backs are a little bit similar sometimes with creating their own yards. And I don't think that's Breece's strength. So that is pretty much, that sun's coming in. But that is pretty much where I'm seeing Breece Hall. If they're going to let him go, look for the trade option. I don't want to go comp pick. But it's going to be very interesting to see how these running backs get utilized. Hey, Yeti, how are you? It's the Yeti! It's the Yeti! WCW, olds in the late 90s, if you know, you know. Yeah, it's Wednesday already, and hey, I hope some of you guys have tomorrow off. It is Juneteenth. I'm actually off. I will be heading to the most godforsaken place on earth, otherwise known. I'm off. I'm going to the DMV, trying to get my North Carolina driver's license. My goal is to have it by the end of the weekend. I need to get my freaking driver's license for my trip in August. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to rent a car. So, because my license expires in July. So I definitely need a new driver's license. And yeah, I really wonder who has the worst customer service, the DMV or lost luggage at the airport. You know, I think those are the two jobs that require the least amount of human communication skill, is lost luggage and the DMV. But I will be heading over there tomorrow to try to get this driver's license situation figured out. And so hopefully this will be my third time going. Hopefully now I have everything I need. I think I do. And we will go from there. Yeti, I'm sorry, man, but it's a topic we're talking about. Something we got to talk about. It's a big deal. So it's one of those things. Sell high, don't sell low. Breece will have more of his burst back. He just might. He just might. And hey, contract year. He's got something to prove. He's got a lot to prove. And supposedly multiple teams were interested in him. So they still recognize the talent. So I think it could be a very, very interesting situation, especially if like a Donovan Edwards emerges. I feel like every week I mention his name. But if he has one of those, you know, every year, every team has one player who stands out during training camp and the fans just latch onto and say, you've got to get this guy in the 53. Got to get this guy in the 53. I think Edwards has a good chance to be that guy, at least on offense. Could be. Probably him and Jamal Pritchett, the wide receiver. I think those are a couple of guys. Tony, DMV closed tomorrow. And I think it depends on the state, man. I think it depends on the state. I checked my state's website. Tony, I'm not sure what state you're in, but I did check, and there's like 8-9 holidays, and Juneteenth was not one of them. You know what? They are you know what? This is from 2022, so this is not accurate. I'm going to double check because I know I checked the list of holidays and that wasn't there. All right, now you got me overthinking this, so now I'm going to look again. Similar. They typically close. You know what? They probably are close. Yeah, if this is the way to, I'm just going to look. North Carolina DMV holiday schedule. It doesn't list it. It doesn't list it. Yeah, I'm looking at the holiday schedule page right now, and Juneteenth isn't listed, man. Huh. Might have to call one of them, and I'm sure they have the recording up. But well, if I have to go Friday, I'll go Friday. I'm off Friday, so I'll still do that. But yeah, that's strange. Yeah, I mean, if their website is that messed up, that's not good. Yeah, I'm just reading that. Martin Luther King, Good Friday, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. It doesn't mention Juneteenth. I don't know. I don't get it. All right. Well, enough of that. All right. Well, if I have to go Friday, I'll go Friday, and then I know I can go Saturday, certain locations, and just go there at like 5 a.m. if I need to. I'll just do that. So, but by the weekend, I'm gonna have my license. Gonna have my license. I swear. We always drop a guy as soon as I start to like him. Well, stop freaking liking players already, dude. The definition of yet sanity, dude. It's PTJD. It's post-traumatic jets disorder. Total PTJD. So the struggle is real. Struggle is real. Okay, guys. Well, I'll tell you what. It's almost 7 o'clock. It is about that time of the night, I think. All right. Yeah, just making sure I'm all caught up here. I think we're good. Okay. All right, folks. Yep, it is that time of the night every week. It is that time. You know what happens every week. I know you're here, and I know you bring your thinking caps. So what do? I head into the labyrinth of Jets knowledge. I bust open the books. I dust off the Encyclopedia Britannica. All of it. Pull open the websites, all of it. And I, Watch UK99, challenge you, the most loyal fans of the most loyal fan base in the NFL. Just how much do you know about your New York Jets? So if you're ready, let's play Jets Trivia. Okay, so we're going to go a little different direction here. I've been doing a little extra research on some of these questions, trying to come up with maybe a new category. And so we've got a little bit of variety here in the trivia. Hey, Kyle Oifer, how you doing? Yeah, welcome. Hope I hope you've subscribed. If you haven't, please do. It'd really be much appreciated. Hope you're doing great, Kyle. Hope you're having a great week. God's good. Okay, so let's get right to it. So tonight's trivia question. So this is going to be a jersey number question. All right. So that kind of opens up the bag a little bit to a whole new variety of topics. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes on this question. Put your answers down there in the chat. I'll let you know. So your 5 minutes is starting. The question is, who is the most recent Jet to wear number 59? Just looking for one name. Just one name. Do you know that one name? Yes, Yeti. Number 24 is the most recent Jet to wear 59. Very nice. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Yeti was trying to jump the gun is what he was doing there. All right. Yeah, I could have got. Yeah, we could have given the gong on that one, but no, I'm not going to do that. And Jinpa comes in hot and fast with Kyle Clifton. Kyle Clifton hadn't played for the Jets in 30 years. Is it really? Is it really? Is the right answer Kyle Clifton? It is. Yeah, it's Kyle Clifton. Jinpak, very well done. The correct answer is indeed Kyle Clifton. The last time he played for the Jets was in 1996, and no New York Jet has worn number 59 since then. It's true. I'm not making it up. It's true. It's Kyle Clifton. Yeah. So, Jinpak, this one's just for you. This woo is for you, dude. So there we go. That is a trivia question that didn't even take, that took about a minute. It was over. So great job, guys. So the throat is, I'm doing okay, but definitely not feeling where I wanted to. How are we doing on the chats right now? I want to check. We're at 13 chats. I don't know if I got a wheel in me tonight, but if I don't, we'll do one next week for sure. I'll definitely give that to you. I think one thing we're going to do, I don't have a specific date yet, but we're going to do it sometime I think in early July before training camp. I'm thinking, let me check. The 4th of July this year is on a Friday, right? Okay, so I'm thinking we're going to do is maybe Wednesday. I'm thinking July 2nd. We're not going to do any analysis, none of that. We're just going to do a 3 and out and wheels. We're just going to do like an hour, hour and a half, whatever it's going to be. I'll be sure to put a post up to promote it. We'll make a graphic, all that stuff. So Wednesday, so 2 weeks from tonight, we're just going to have fun. Like, we're celebrating America. We're going to have a little celebration of fun of our own. We're just going to do a wheel show. So maybe we'll be able to get a guest on, maybe somebody who wants to, we can go have a little back and forth about where certain players should rank. So maybe we'll open it up and maybe have some people join. So maybe we'll post the link and maybe we can do that. Maybe have a different person in for a different wheel. I think we could have some fun with that. So July 2nd. So we'll just do a couple different wheels. So I hope you guys think that'd be a fun idea, because I think it'd be pretty rad. So July 2nd will be wheel night. So it should be a wheel good time. All right. Did I really say that? Did I really say a wheel good time? Yeah, pretty much. Okay, guys. All right, I'm going to call it. And, since I guess I'm not going to the DMV tomorrow, figures, I guess I'll probably just do deliveries or... Yeah, I think maybe I'll do a Sporkle quiz. We'll do a Sporkle video. Just do one of those live quizzes. People seem to be liking those. So maybe we'll just do a post of some kind for Sporkle. So, all right, guys, I'm going to call it a night. Hope everybody has a great rest of your week. Thank you, as always, for joining me. It means a ton. And so enjoy the rest of your week. And I will see you all right back here next week with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair. Have a good night, everybody. Be well.